Okay, we have just finished texturing, actually unwrapping the shin of our scorpion model, and now we're going on to the thigh, and we can take a look at the map for the shin real quick. Alright, turn that off, there we go. Now later on in Photoshop we'll go through and actually draw out pieces of metal, just to give this nice metal texture, and then go through and apply kind of a rust going throughout the poles right here and several different parts of the mesh, and we'll address that later. And for this part of this tutorial we're going to go through and unwrap basically this entire thigh. So what I'm going to do is isolate this thigh, and I'm currently in isolation, but I can go ahead and isolate this thigh, and whenever I exit isolation it will take me back to everything else instead of the isolation I was just in. So for this specific thigh we have not too many elements to work with, but we do actually have quite a few, and those consist of spheres, cylinders, and a box model for the main one. So we'll start off by adding a mesh select modifier, selecting our element button, and then select the main part of our actual model. And after that we want to go through and add a UVW map modifier to kind of set up the way it's going to look at it. So I can turn that on, turn on box, and for box I will set a perfectly square box by pasting the numbers and the width and the height, copying it from the length as you can see right there. And then I'll add an unwrap UVW modifier. There we go. Now if I go into my edit window you'll see it's already unwrapped nicely, but yeah, that's not exactly what we want. So if I go ahead and undo that, I can go to mapping, normal mapping, and set this to box and hit OK, and now I have my top, bottom, and front of the actual map, or of the actual regular cylinder, or the regular main part. There we go. So I can grab this and I'm going to move this into the bottom left, and I'm going to try and keep this in this basic general area, so for later on we can lay this out nicely. So I'm going to kind of move this over. There we go. And that is just below the halfway point. So next we want to actually go in and unwrap some other objects. So I'm going to apply a mesh select modifier, and this will deselect everything. And I'm going to select all these, holding shift I'm going to drag those up to the top, and that's just going to paste those on. And it's going to have that selected already, so I'm going to select the sphere, go to my UVW map, select spherical for the wrap type, and hit fit, and that's going to fit it directly to my sphere. Go back in here and then reset the UVWs. Yes, I want to reset, and there we go, we have our sphere unwrapped. Now you'll notice it's kind of a messed up mesh, so we can do some quick fix here. We just go ahead and select face. I'm going to select these right here and just go to tools. I'm going to detach those. Now I'm going to drag those over and kind of line those up. I'm going to do the same thing for the top. I'm going to go tools, detach. I'm going to bring those down to the bottom. Yeah, that looks good. There we go. Now I'm going to select vertices, select all these, right click, weld selected. Right there. So this should get a nice little weld going. It didn't work on all these parts, so I'm just going to go ahead and use target weld and kind of weld those together manually. And this will allow us to have a pretty nice texture for our map. So we have this one little triangle over here. Which I cannot select. Turn that off. Go to my move tool. There we go. tools, detach. I'm going to move that over here. And I'm just going to weld. Weld selected. And yeah, that didn't work too well. I have to move this into place a little bit more. And weld selected. And there we go. Now we have our map. So I can move this over and make that perfectly square. Move this one over. And we have a perfect map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this down. This will be our sphere. And move that up in the corner. And scale it up a little bit bigger than that. And there we go. Now that we have the sphere, we can do the same thing. Select from the mesh select the one that's not selected. Holding shift, I'm going to drag up, and this will deselect everything, and then allow me to select my next object, which will be this cylinder. Go to the UVW map, set cylinder. I'm going to cap it, turn on cap so I can view edges right here in the center of the polygons. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to fit, and that's going to fit it perfectly like that. And if it doesn't fit to your object, you can change the alignment, which is probably your problem. So you're going to want to find the right alignment for your actual mesh, and for this one it is Z. So I'm going to use the Z alignment. Go to my unwrap, reset the UVWs, and hit edit. There we go. And I'm going to notice that it is not exactly right. I got quite a few things going on here. So if I go in and select face, I can zoom in really close. Nope, can't do that. I'm going to select everything, mapping, normal mapping, and I'm going to set this back in front. There we go. Now I don't have the front, so I'm going to go ahead and do mapping, normal mapping, box mapping, and yeah, that's not going to get a desired result. So I'm going to do box, no top. That still didn't get the desired result. And I doubt this will work, as it did not. So we'll go ahead and use the normal mapping. There we have that right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all those and then deselect those. Actually, it should be right here. And there's my front face, so I'm going to go ahead and detach those. And I'm going to move. There we go. I'm just going to scale that down. Now I have the top, bottom. Here's the top. I'm going to move that up in the top. Select all these, and these will be, select edge. I'm going to bring that edge out, and bring that edge out. And do the same thing for this one. Use my non-uniform scale tool, straighten these up. And I'm going to go ahead and scale these together. So holding shift, holding control, I'm going to scale this down. I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to bring it over. So now I got the entire texture map, or the entire side of the cylinder and the top of the cylinder. I'm going to scale that down and put that right there. Okay, now next we have to select the individual elements. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before and select all those. Holding shift, I'll drag those up, copy them, select my mesh select, and I'm going to start selecting the box objects. And I believe this is all the box objects. UW map, box, fit it, and for the length I'm going to copy that and paste that into the width, and do the same thing for the height. Unwrap, reset the UVWs, and hit edit. There we go, now we have our box. So I'm going to mapping, normal mapping, and set this to box, and unfold that, and I have each individual part. And if you want to, you can go through and actually weld these together. So I'm going to grab those and move those over there. Put those there, weld selected. And if I select that, I'm going to notice it comes over to this one. So I'm going to select these vertices. Move that over there. And I'll weld those. Move those out of the way. And actually it'd probably be easier to use face for this one. And I'm just going to continue lining these up. And this one I notice goes along there. Select edge. Find out it actually goes to that edge. So I'm going to select face. Move that down. Put that up to the edge. And I am going to mirror this one and bring it up here. Kind of scale that down. Okay, so select these vertices. It connects to those. I'll move those right there. Select these, connects to these. Move those right there. You can tell it connects to them by the blue dots. I forgot if I mentioned that or not. So this one's going long ways. I'm going to select these. It's going to connect to there. Select these, connects to there. These connect to there. I'm just going to bring this up. Connect that. Alright, straighten this out a little bit. And after these are straightened, I'll simply use the weld selected modifier. And there we go. And I'll do the same for these. Hit and weld selected. And as you'll notice, this actually belongs up here. And that is inverted. So let's go ahead and move that up. There we go. Now I can scale this out and weld these vertices nicely. Target weld. my scale tool. I'm going to scale left and right. Straighten these out. And straighten these out. There we go. Now I'm going to select my move tool. Move that on there. And I'm just going to pack these in real tight. There we go. I can scale those down, and I will put these in the bottom right. There we go. Now, if I look at my other maps, I should be able to make sure nothing else is in the bottom right. So I'm going to go to my other unwrap UVWs, click on edit, make sure nothing's in the bottom right. For this one, edit. And it doesn't look like anything's going to interfere. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing I did before. Select the modifiers, holding shift. I'm going to drag them up, use mesh select, and I'm going to select this cylinder. UVW map, cylinder, cap. I'm going to fit it, and unwrap UVW, edit. Reset, yes. And this is basically the same thing we had before. So I'm going to do a simple normal mapping back and front, and then I'm going to select face, and this will select the top of the mesh. So tools, detach, map, unfold mapping. Okay. And now I have the top of my cylinder, and I believe there's no bottom. Good. Oh, so there is. So if I go to tools, detach, mapping, unfold, okay, should have the exact same thing, and it's going to be basically the same texture. So I'm going to scale that down to the same size. There we go. Now I can scale this one down. Put my move tool, move those up. This tool, there we go. Scale all these down. And move them right there. Now if I apply a mesh select and a final unwrap UVW, I haven't textured this cylinder, this one, or these three hydraulics, and we will, but just to click edit, I can actually look in here and see that I actually need to move these and change the way they look. Now this right here should be the three cylinders and the hydraulics, but if I go through and I have these right here, there we go, and I go back into my edit window and reset, yes, edit. No, I'm going to undo that reset. And I'm going to move these accordingly. Reset them. That's my new position. Now, I should be able to pack these in quite a bit tighter, but I actually do not need to. So what I'm going to do is select these. Actually, I'm going to remove these two that I did. Do the same thing. And I'm going to texture each hydraulic individually using just a cylinder. So I'm going to turn off cap because you don't see either cap, and I'm going to fit, and I'm going to change the orientation. There we go. And that should be what we need. Unwrap, reset, yes, edit, and yeah. Okay, so what we're going to have to do with this is a little bit of editing. And first thing you want to do is weld everything. So I'm going to weld selected, and then I'm going to grab this polygon right here, detach, move that all the way to the other side, and I'm going to weld that. There we go. Now these right here you'll see are the actual top of the cylinder, which we will not need to texture because you cannot see them. So I'm going to scale this down, and this will be the hydraulic 1. So I'm going to put this 4, 4 directly right there. Quadrant 4, 4. And I'm going to copy these, do the same thing we did before. Holding shift, I'm going to drag up, mesh select, I'm going to select this cylinder, UVW. I'm going to select fit, just to fit it to that one. Unwrap, edit, and I'm going to put this in quadrant. Actually, I'm going to reset the UVWs and have to do the exact same thing again. So I'm going to weld selected, select face, detach, move that over, and then weld again. There we go. And I'm going to move this entire thing into quadrant 5, 4. So I'm going to scale this down to about one size. There we go. Move this into there's 4, so that would be 5, 5, 4. There we go. And do the exact same thing again. There we go. Mesh select, either hydraulic, UVW map, fit, unwrap UVW, reset, yes, edit, select polygon, detach, move that over. I'm gonna fit that in better. There we go. Select edge, grab everything, weld selected. Okay, having that done, I am going to select everything and put that in 6, 4. And if I got the quadrant numbers backwards, oops. So I'm going to go ahead and right click move. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This should be 6, this should be 4. There we go. Now I should have everything laid out nicely. And I'm going to go back into my old ones and make sure I don't have anything in the quadrants that I just put those hydraulics in. So I'm going to go to edit. We'll look at 4, 4, and that's fine. And we'll go to this one, edit, and that looks fine to me. And yeah, this one might pose a little bit of a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and scale this down a little bit. And move that up here a little bit more. There we go. Go back into my unwrap again. And this one can be moved over. There we go. And then we go there. Let's add a final 2 more for this height, or this cylinder and this cylinder. So we'll do the same exact thing. Holding shift, copy the modifiers. Select this one. And go into the UVW and hit fit, but it's not going to work, so we're going to change the orientation to Y and hit fit. Unwrap, reset the UVWs, yes, edit, and there we go. It is basically the same thing. I'm just going to select polygon, select that one, detach, move over, weld, and there we go. And this will be cylinder 2, so I'll go ahead and put this in its own little quadrant. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to take the 7th quadrant, go down 3. Actually, I'm going to go down 4. And do this once more for the final cylinder, that one. So I'm going to select everything, holding shift, drag them up, mesh select, and I'm going to select this one, UVW map, fit it, unwrap, edit, reset, yes, and weld selected, select everything, scale down, move, no, move, there we go. Go ahead and set this on 5, 7. There we go. Now, to get the final map for this, we're going to add a final mesh select, and then a final unwrap UVW. Okay, go to edit, and as we can see, we got all our maps in here. So if I kind of grab this and move over, I'll notice I have one map left, and it looks like a cylinder. And this cylinder would be this one, I believe. So what I'm going to have to do is holding shift, move those up right there, mesh select, select this one, UVW map, cylinder, fit, it's not going to fit, so I'm going to use the Z-axis, no, the X-axis, fit, unwrap UVW, edit, reset, yes, and select polygon, select, detach, move that over, select edge, select, weld. And then I'm going to go to my final one, look at the map, and I can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 is not taken. So I'm going to go to my edit, and I'm going to scale this down, go to my move tool, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. So I'm going to put it right in there. There we go. And look at our final unwrap. And we have our entire leg. So if I turn that off, we show our entire leg. There we go. And we can do the final render to texture by going rendering, render to texture. And what this will do is allow us to add a diffuse map, and if we had a material applied to this, it would actually render that material to it. So if I apply, say, a checker map by going to my diffuse slot and setting checker, tiling it maybe 20 times, so 20 tile, just drag that over to my material, turn show in viewport. I can see the mapping I have for this, and then I will set my path, which is F:\scorpion, where I want to actually put the bitmap. Turn off automatic unwrap, and then go down, set the size to 1024, 1024, and hit render. And this should render out our scorpion's leg. Now we can go ahead and save this JPEG and use it for texturing, and apply that to the diffuse slot, and we will have a textured thigh. And this concludes part 3 of the scorpion texturing tutorial.